Hi everyone. My name is Chen Wei. I'm the violinist in the Aura uh, Contemporary Ensemble at the University of Houston. It is my pleasure to be able to speak with Miss Molly Joyce, composer of the Blues Swell, who is based in Connecticut right now. So thank you for allowing us to interview, to include your work in our one-on-one project, and for speaking with me today. So would you mind just kind of briefly introduce yourself to us?
Mhm. Sure. So my name is Molly Joyce, and I'm active as a composer and performer. And I would say almost all of my work focuses on disability as a creative source. I have an impaired left hand from a previous car accident about 20 years ago. So this really informs my works, even from music compositions for other people, like kind of more physically motivated pieces, works on my that I perform on my vintage toy organ and with my voice, and also collaborations with kind of other artists, which I really love doing as well.
That's good. Yeah, I saw the TED Talk um,
Oh, yeah.
a few months ago. That was really great. So I know there's a program notes on the website about the Blue Swell. But would you please briefly talk about how you started this piece and why you would compose the Blue Swell?
Sure. Yeah. So it was written during undergraduate studies at Juilliard for my best friend, the violinist Miriam Machadze. And she's from Georgia originally, the country. And so she asked me to write a work for, I think, when she was going back this summer for kind of a festival or something. And to be honest, I think I was going through like kind of a tough time in my studies there. I think as all composers do when you're really trying to figure out what your voice is and what you want to write versus what your teachers want you to write. And so with this work, I think I really wanted to just, I mean, it's not cheesy, but really just express my purest self and not worry about what the teachers would think. Like I just really wanted to write it for her and what would shine with her. And especially, yeah, her playing in a way. Like I'm not a violinist, but I love when she plays like Bach and everything. And so I was really trying to kind of take from some of those techniques and serve it in kind of a new work for her.
So was that the first piece that you composed for the violin?
Mm. I'm trying to think because I'm sure I definitely wrote some other ones like in high school. I think this might have been the first solo violin kind of thing. Although, of course, there's like kind of the organ backing track. But yeah, it's purely her violin solo. Mhm.
So is there any like message that you would like to communicate with the listener or the audience through the Blue Swell?
Uh-huh. Um, yeah, I think to be honest, I'm always like hesitant to project messages on the listener. I think in general, like I gravitate towards art that I think has many different interpretations possible. Like doesn't tell you how to think. But I guess I would say one of kind of a natural like opening and embrace, if that makes sense. I think which comes across with the combination of the violinist and the techniques used, but also the organ chords in the background. And I think obviously I love like organ sounds and everything, and I love that combination of kind of pipe organ and then like the violinist able to build off that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's wonderful. I really enjoyed this piece. So I
Um,
noticed the last year you just released a very, very wonderful album called
thank you.
Breaking the Entering. So would you mind just kind of share with us what inspired you to create this album and what kind of pieces in there that build up this album?
Sure. So it's I believe 5 tracks or maybe 6 tracks, including the interlude. For written for my vintage toy organ. I keep looking this way because it's on my side, and my voice and lyrics and pre-recorded kind of electronic processing of those sources, also with MIDI sources from the Sibelius composing software, and lyrics I wrote. And all of the works are really, again, obviously centered on kind of disability as a creative source and specifically investigating my process of kind of acquiring a disability, and asking what happens when physical movement and sensation leaves one's body and how that kind of changes the relationship to your body, especially with my kind of two hands in a way, the relationship between them. And I feel I'll never really like tire of asking of that in the best way possible. For me, it's like kind of infinitely generative, and I like to say I like to kind of explore it in depressing and optimistic and just exploratory ways. Not necessarily trying to stress a narrative of overcoming a disability or to be constantly inspired by it, but really just kind of cultivating it for what it has to offer and really embracing the disabled experience.
That's nice. And I saw an interview from you. Just
Mhm.
you started to explore the voice, the
Yes.
vocal pieces recently. And then is that
Mhm.
something? What shifted you from more like I know you started from the toy organ and
Yeah.
kind of really kind of shift you through explore different um,
Mm.
instruments, I should say. So
Yeah.
anything that you can share with us about this?
Yeah. Like to singing more, basically. Or yeah, it's interesting, and I have to give a huge credit to my friend Carla Canales for really encouraging me in the beginning. Because yeah, initially after grad school, I knew I wanted to write an album for the organ, probably electronics or something on the organ. And then I was starting like a project with her where I was like singing the backing tracks just as a demo or something, and she really encouraged me to just sing myself in a way, especially because I have very, I think, specific ideas, at least for the works I write for my own voice, of how I want it to be interpreted. And I think that's how, this is probably a tangent, but how like what I love about the human singing voice in general, especially within more like say indie or pop settings, like it's so unique to the individual person. Like it's almost impossible to replicate someone else or and even replicate MIDI or something like that. And again, I have to give huge credit to her because she really encouraged me to just like try to start doing it. Although at first, and I think I was also doing a lot of these artist residencies at the time, so I was in this very kind of in the best way possible, encouraging kind of free zone with other like visual artists, not necessarily like a music conservatory. You know, I'd be like singing against opera singers or something. I really could just kind of experiment. But then it did take me about I think a year or two to really start getting singing lessons though. So I was always hesitant that like I didn't want to. I love singing with a mic and effects. Like I didn't want to be taught to train like or be trained to sing like louder, bigger, you know, or like more. I think operatic. Basically, I wanted to just not. I wanted to kind of stay my soft voice in a way, but again, I have to give huge credit to my voice teacher, to Lucy DeGray, for really helping me get some like techniques down and warm ups and all that, and explore like how much more there is to really explore with the voice in general.
Is that really challenging you? Like when you started to need to sing in front of the microphone? Because I know
Mm.
people sing as a musician when we're teaching or when we're demonstrate something, but when you need to really sing in front of the microphone,
Yes.
it's kind of it's kind of different thing, right?
No, definitely. I think like I mean, I haven't performed in a while, so that's probably why I'm feeling better. Like everyone in COVID, you know, I think near or I did a performance in July or so. I finally feel like I'm feeling more comfortable with the microphone. I think that's why I really wanted to get lessons too, because I just felt like, especially because I wasn't doing warm ups or something, I was like approaching it all wrong. Like every time I'd get up to the mic, I didn't know what was going to come out, or so like kind of, you know, or just trying my best, but not having any sort of grounding, or even if you're having a bad day, like not knowing what's going on. And I think just like everything, it takes practice. Like I'm definitely not the best singer, I think. But I also feel like it makes most sense, like when I'm with my organ, like to be doing the singing, and it's definitely opened up a lot of opportunities, I think, for collaborations with other artists, or just kind of having that in my arsenal. And
Yeah,
um, so, and, yeah.
yeah, I should try that sometime.
No, I think seriously, I like love just like the lessons and the warm-ups or something. Even if you're not going to do it on stage, or like just it's like a Alexander technique or so. I don't know. It's like meditation. You know, you're learning about your body. It's like already the instrument's already in you. I think that's what I love about it too.
Okay,
Mhm.
one last question.
Mhm.
What I would like to ask you is, if you don't mind, could you please share with us what pieces that you are working on at the moment, or if you don't mind?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm finishing up a clarinet and kind of pre-recorded electronics piece for the clarinetist Lucy Abrams Husso, I believe her last name is spelled or pronounced, and she's based in Finland. So I'm excited about that. And then I'm also kind of starting or in the midst of a larger creative project as part of a Toolman Fellowship residency with National Sawdust and NYU Center for Ballet and the Arts. And this work is kind of exploring the traditional like kind of myth of the dark or the kind of cursed and dark left side of the body. So it's a collaboration with the disabled dancer John Herman, and the writer and audio describer Max Grayson, director Austin Regan. We also have ASL interpretation by Brandon Kazan Maddox, and curatorial kind of consultation advising on accessibility from Sandy Gutman. So a lot of like people involved, which I really love in a way, and trying to enact this digitally. And it'll be premiered April 15th as part of kind of National Sawdust Digital Discovery Festival.
Oh, okay, that's wonderful. I'm looking forward to it. On your website, I noticed you have a lot of like cool video.
Oh,
I really love it. It's really, really, really wonderful.
oh, thank you.
Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing all of this information with us, and it's really been a pleasure to perform your
Oh,
and speaking with you.